Welcome to Electric Vitality Unplug with your health coach, Christina Leo. Join us each week as we explore strategies with antioxidant negative ions to keep our bioelectric body strong, ensuring a vibrant and dignified life well into our golden years. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Electric Vitality Unplug, episode 9. This is Christina Leo, and thank you so much for watching and catching up this with my presentation today, either live or on replay. As always, I'm very excited to share about the benefit of negative ion or anion, and you'll hear me use them interchangeably because they're really the same. So let me just go straight to my slide and then we'll get started right away. So let me do this 1 second. Okay. So today is the second of the 3 episodes that I will be presenting to you, and it's basically going back to what I call back to the basics. So it's just to help you understand negative ion, anions, and what their benefits are. And so today in episode 9 is the topic is how to maximize anion negative ion benefits. As usual, the product that I talk about or any kind of health information is primarily for your information. Always work with your healthcare professional. And I'm also an authorized distributor of Nefo USA. So just a little bit about me. You could pause this to read, but basically I am a marketing leader at the AGM level with Nefo USA. I also teach meditation, which I'm passionate about. I have a finance background, so I'm very in tune with numbers and return on investments. And I also own a small business in e-commerce. My health issues has led me to discover and through the sharing from a friend that negative ion could actually help. At the time, I was skeptical, which is expected of anyone hearing for the first time. And I'm glad that I was open-minded at the time. And over a span of 6, probably from 3 to 6 months, I would say, my conditions with allergy, vertigo, backache, and chronic seasonal allergy has completely alleviated. And I'm currently pursuing a PhD in natural medicine so that I can continue to be empowered with knowledge, and particularly how negative ion can be helpful in helping people added as a complement to their health modalities. There are a whole host of different ways to stay healthy, and this is one of them. And I've found it to be so helpful. It was so transformative for me. So my mission is to share what I learn, what I know, what I experience firsthand, and also the experience of my customers and my teammates, so that more people can benefit from it. So as I mentioned, today is the second of the second episode in October, and next week there is no. We're skipping a week next week as I'll be out of town, and then we'll resume on October 26th. Okay. So just a kind of a rehash of what I did last week. And this is a continuation from last week. So if you didn't get a chance to catch episode 8, I highly recommend that you go back to that first, because that really sets the tone and the foundation of what we're talking about here. So I had shared this slide last week. Is we have 60 to 100 trillion cells. And we have to look at it when we have physical symptoms and issues. You have to kind of drill it down to the most fundamental level of what we are made up of, right? So, so the effect to our cells and the atoms at the really, really microscopic level, right? anything that happens in aggregate, it's going to show up in our physical symptoms. So we have 60 to 100 trillion cells in our body, and every single cell then has another 100 trillion atoms. So they're all working really, really hard to keep us alive and functioning. I make it a habit to be grateful to every single part of my body all the time, because without us knowing, it just they're the silent worker in kind of like our physical factory that keep us alive, keep us functioning, keep us healthy. And I've mentioned about the negative ion benefits, the anion benefits. So, primarily these are the four major functions, which is purifying the blood, regulate our autonomic nervous system, enhance our body's immune system, and rejuvenate the cells. And you could also go back to the prior episodes to catch each one that I discussed specifically, how amnion is able to help us in these four aspects. Okay. So with that in mind, we know that amnion negative ion is beneficial to us, and how much do we need, right? So this was published by the Negative Ion Development Association of Taiwan, in terms of how much negative ion we need. Okay, this is again a review. So 1 cubic centimeter is really quite small, right? It's like the size of a very small sugar cube. So the amount that we need, it's measured per cubic centimeter. So if we get 1,000 to 2,000 negative ion per cubic centimeter, our human body can remain healthy. And that's kind of like the bare minimum to keep our body healthy, and keeping any external, virus, bacteria, you know, preventing them from coming into our body and creating issues, right? So that's kind of like the bare minimum to stay healthy. But if we could get our exposure through breathing and through our skin, 5,000 to 50,000, we can reinforce and enhance our body's own immunity. And the biggest number is if you get 100,000 to 500,000, your body could actually start to enhance its own quote unquote natural healing properties. So in the bottom two charts there, you could see that it's kind of like two different comparison in terms of the one on the right is kind of what I just said. So you could see different levels of negative ion gives you different levels of health benefits. Now, the important part on the left side of your screen is how much negative ion are present in different environments. So the first one being listed is waterfalls, right? It has anywhere from 50,000 and up negative ion per cubic centimeter. And then, by the mountain, by the ocean, forest, natural environment just creates a lot of negative ions. So the number gradually starts to go down as you get into a more city or urban environment, going from outdoor to indoor, because our modern environment creates comfort, right? Creates convenience. However, it also robbed us of the beneficial negative ion that's generated by the trees and the waters, just the natural environment. So the number starts to go down. And if you're constantly in an air-conditioned environment, it the amount of negative ion, it's really small. So the the takeaway here is try to go outdoor, try to be in the natural environment. So for us, the goal of amnion is it could neutralize the harmful free radicals in our body, right? But the thing is, if initially when you have a lot of free radicals, the negative ion, however much you absorb into the body, has to do the work, right? So our ultimate goal is to minimize the sources of free radicals in our body. So the anions will have less work to try to neutralize these free radicals. And instead, it can actually focus on enhancing our cell effectiveness. So there's kind of like a spectrum of a process where when you start utilizing any kind of negative ion amnion modalities, right? There is this process that it first has to start neutralizing free radical. And then as you start becoming healthier and healthier, it became more of a maintenance mode, right? And then it also prevents further damage from free radicals. So just a review, a free radical is it's an atom that is missing the necessary electron for it to be balanced. So it will try to grab it from somewhere else. Okay. So in the graph on the left, you could see that there's actually two different atoms. Okay, the one on the top is a sodium atom in the on the top, and the bottom is the chlorine. And the reason why I have chlorine here is in the future I will make reference to it because chlorine is actually an important element in the negative ion clothing fiber. But in any case, so like the number of protons, which it's positive charge, and the number of electrons on the outside that spins around, those numbers, when they equal, this atom is stable. When the numbers are not equal, right? If there's more electrons than protons, it's going to be negatively charged. And vice versa, then it's going to be positively charged. So when it's negatively charged, so you can see on the top where the neutral atom, sodium atom, when it has an impact by something, in the graph here is just an energy, some kind of energetic source causes the electrons to be lost. Okay, so now this atom then had lost that electron, so now it has um, more protons than electrons, so it will become positively charged. And then if we look at the chlorine atom on the bottom, when it's balanced and neutral, because it's 17, it's actually needs an extra electron. So in order for it to stay balanced, so it's going to kind of seek another electron. So you can see in the graphs, like the sodium atom kind of gives the one electrons to the chlorine. So now the chlorine atom then becomes negatively charged because it only has 17 protons, but then now it has 18 negative electrons. So therefore it becomes a negative ion or an anion. So you can see the official term is anions for negative ion, and cation is for positive ions. So when negatively charged ion has extra electron, it could actually help keep the atoms that needs the electrons to become stable. Um, so so when we go back and talk about how we could have, anion to help us, right? Um, Last week I share about the different sources of, you know, um, free radical within our body is we looked at stress, right? Unhealthy diet, smoking, lack of exercise, and lack of sleep. So one of the first thing we can do is start to try to minimize and eliminate these causes. So stress is actually responsible for 60 to 80%, directly or indirectly, 60 to 80% of our health conditions. So things to mitigate it is looking at the source of the stress, try to resolve it. But then meditation and breath work really, really helps too. And then when you have unhealthy diet, this is a whole spectrum of, what you eat, right? And everyone has different preferences, but I kind of advocate it's try to minimize the three highs, okay? Try to minimize sugar, salt, and fat in the diet. And then, if you minimize that, it would actually start to, give your bodies more kind of a breathing room. And if you start taking in more vegetable and fruits, healthy diet, you're going to start to see an effect. And those will create more beneficial antioxidant, which is negative ions, and then it neutralizes and minimizes the free radicals from these unhealthy diet. And if you smoke, just seek help to try to quit, right? And then lack of exercise is another problem. So the biggest thing is motivation, and then getting yourself off the couch and go and do something, right? So working with trainers, create kind of some kind of accountability that forces you to start doing that would be helpful. And a lot of time people are lacking sleep as well. So it's always helpful to create some sort of nighttime routine to start relaxing and unwinding, so then your body start to go into a more um, relaxed state so you can sleep. And your sleeping environment is also very important. Um, and then the other thing I mentioned is environmental exposures, which creates a lot of free radical that our body takes in, right? The air that we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, and the electronic that we are constantly exposed to, and then also all the chemicals that we use around us. So that's kind of takes a level of awareness and trying to minimize the exposures to that, so that you're not putting toxic burden onto your body even more. And the second thing that you could do is try to go outdoors actually as often as possible, because as I mentioned, natural environment just has so much to offer, right? So much wonderful fresh air, and for those of us that likes to go take a hike, go to the beach, just being in a natural environment where there's lots of trees, lots of water. We just know. I mean, our body just tells us. You take a deep breath, it's like, that just feels good, right? And that's the important part. It's we 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 want to minimize staying indoor where the air oftentimes is not circulating, and then that in essence contribute to more building up of free radical within our body. And so the important part is as I mentioned in the chart before, the first thing they list is the waterfall, right? Going near the waterfall. And this is a picture I actually had taken when I was in Niagara Falls. And it is just this was last year, and it was just, oh my God, it's unbelievable. If you ever been to any major waterfall, and Niagara Fall is just one of those amazing natural wonders. And when you sit there, oh, just focus and then just breathe, and it's so refreshing. And I even took a one of those boats to go underneath the fall. And of course, you get drenched because you have to, because there's so much water. And we all had like a raincoat on. But it was really overwhelming because the wind was so strong, right? It was definitely a good experience. But just walking along the edges of the waterfall, you just feel it. The air is just unbelievable. And anecdotally, I've heard like people that had like serious health condition, they go there and they just sit there for a whole day and they actually start getting better. So, the reason why going near the waterfall is important is that it's called what we call the waterfall effect. And this was discovered by a scientist, Philip Leonard. And the idea is that, when water start falling from the high altitude, when it comes down and the water droplet breaks apart. When it breaks apart, there's electron then flies out. Now, these electrons that flies out, it's going to combine with oxygen in the air. And it goes from being an oxygen, now it become an oxygen ion. So when we breathe it in through our nose or through our skin, we actually feel really, really good. And then, so the reason why how it becomes oxygen ion is because oxygen, on the top, I kind of just show the oxygen atom, because the oxygen atom is always looking for electrons, because it only has 6 on the outside ring on the electrons, and it needs 8 to be stable. So it's missing 2. So that's why the oxygen actually is something that is very magnetically, attracted to electrons. So when at the waterfall, it creates this tremendous effect, and of course, oxygen is everywhere, right? So that's why when it gained those electron, you breathing it in, it's very beneficial to us. And then if we're not able to go to the waterfall, we can always get it in, our daily shower. Not the same amount, but at least some. Okay. So there's different ways to get anions. And so we talked about waterfall, right? You get these tremendous amount of volume. Unfortunately, you can't be sitting by the waterfall all day long unless you're lucky enough to be able to do that. And then you really has to be close to the waterfall. So then the second option with the shower is it doesn't have the same impact, but then at least it's close. And then so when you are in the shower, the water hitting your skin right away, you absorb it, right? So it's beneficial. But then it doesn't meet the other two requirements. So for negative ion to be beneficial to us, there's those three requirements on the top, which is you need a significant amount of volume. You need to have a significant exposure to it, which is what I call duration, and then proximity. It has to be close, otherwise it changes really fast. The other option is air ionizer. There are so many different models if you do like an Amazon search, but at the same time is it could spew out millions of negative ions, but then you're not going to be carrying that, kind of like machine that you plug into an outlet all the time, right? So it's quite inconvenient. And then that leaves one of the best option, in my opinion, and many others as well, is that negative ion fiber that could generate negative ion through friction. Actually, it's really beneficial to us because if you wear it in layers and you wear clothes all the time, and then it's very close to our skin because we're wearing it, it kind of meets all the three requirements. So the third thing that we need to do besides, try to eliminate the causes of, free radicals and then going outdoors. And then the third thing, important thing is to wear neuron fiber 24/7 in layers all the time. And neuron is the exclusive fiber that Nephil distributes. No one else has it. It's made specifically for Nephil to distribute by a very large manufacturer in Japan. So neuron generate negative static electricity through friction, and then because it generates so much negative static, the electron actually flies out and combines with oxygen in the air, similar to the waterfall effect. But then we, being close to it, we breathe it in, and then we also absorb it through our skin. So it enters our body through the skin and also all the acupuncture points and meridians. Um, so there's, a whole host of product that we have, and the more you can layer, the more beneficial you will gain because the layering effect creates more friction and creates more anions that our body naturally can absorb. Okay. So there's been multiple lab proof of, that the product generate a significant amount of negative ion measured in ions per cubic centimeter. That's what the chart in the beginning talked about. Okay, so we need 5,000 to 50,000 to strengthen our immune system. And a little 8x8 can generate a maximum of 8,800. And then another way to test it is the amount of static electricity it could generate as well. So it generates a very high number. And then the fabric, it's really, really safe, even though it is a synthetic fiber, but it's very safe. It's been around for many, many decades and helping millions of people gaining good health. So there is no need to be concerned about its level of safety. And Nephil and the manufacturer takes extreme utmost care. And every single piece of product takes about 6 months to produce. So a single piece of underwear takes 6 months. And so it's all produced in Japan, which is known for high quality and assurance in what it manufactures. So key success factor, I already mentioned the first three, which is density or volume and duration, as well as direct contact with the skin. Those are so important for us to gain the benefit from the negative ion that, product that we wear. And then we're washing it with all natural plant-based detergent, and Neffel offers the detergent made specifically for it that meets those criteria. And then the product will actually pay back, over and over, because it'll continue to always work as long as you keep it clean. And after using it, washing it, it will continue to do its work. And drinking 8 to 10 cups of water helps your body stay hydrated and help conduct electricity in the body. So this is what I call Neffel up. Okay, it's important to Neffel up. This is somebody that posted their picture on Facebook. So you can see that the wearing, she didn't show like what she's actually wearing underneath, but you can see that she's really kind of like pudgy because there's multiple layer that she's wearing underneath on top of wearing pajama that's made from the blanket. So we're talking about, really, really condensing the amount of negative ion that's possible for your body to absorb. So washing instruction, as I mentioned last week as well, but this is important to repeat, is that the fiber takes a long time to produce. So, but that's why I want to emphasize, the fiber is no ordinary, fiber like cotton or polyester. It takes them so much effort to produce. So if we take good care of it, it will continue to generate the negative ion that we want to benefit our body. So always, you could do hand wash or machine wash. Turn your clothes inside out. Fill the sink with cold lukewarm water. If you're doing hand wash, add a few drops of detergent, soak it for 15 minutes, rinse it clean, and then just hang dry. And then with machine wash, do the gentle cycle again. Flip the clothes inside out, and then just hang dry when it's done. And the key thing to remember is that this fiber does not do well with high heat. So the high heat will cause it to harden, to shrink, and then to lose its ability to generate, the static necessary. So always remember to avoid heat source. So definitely no drying, no ironing, okay? So we want to, again, cherish our 60 trillion cells because they're working all the time. So we need to make sure we have a good balance of negative ion to neutralize the excess free radical within every single cell in our body so that we can stay healthy. Okay, so that's the end of the presentation. So go back and, watch it and try to gain an understanding. And I hope this is beneficial to you as you take another step in empowering yourself with more knowledge that you could utilize today to get your body healthy. Okay, thank you.